Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Pia. I used to be a flight attendant for over 10 years with Qatar, and now we're back here in the Philippines for good. And today we are going to be talking about how do we do a flight briefing. So as you may have noticed on my previous vlogs, you guys know that I used to be a purser before I left the airline. And so, of course, we know the process on how to make the briefing. And every time we go before the flight, we really need to have a briefing. I hope you guys don't mind if you're hearing some noises, some background noises, because apparently the microphone that I am using right now is not really completely noise cancellation microphone. However, I hope you guys can still hear me. All right, so I've listed a few things here, just so you know, so I can also get guided as to, how to say things. Right? So again, every flight, we have to do a briefing, and that is before the flight, of course. No matter if it's just a long or short flight, you still have to do the briefing. Okay? There are times that we have to do a briefing for small aircraft, and there are also times that we have to do briefing for bigger aircraft. So of course, if it's a smaller aircraft, the briefing takes just a few minutes, which is about 15 minutes. And if it's a bigger or a wide body aircraft, normally it would take about 20 minutes, but the minimum is should be 15 minutes. So how do we really do the briefing? Let me just put it this way. So before you do the briefing, you are given 1 hour and 50 minutes. Again, 1 hour and 50 minutes before the departure. Okay, you can't just go straight away to the aircraft and operate the flight. As a crew, we do have some responsibilities, and we need to know details about the flight. So what do we normally do? We go gather in a briefing room. We report to the operations center. We swipe our card, and then we are marked there as we are reporting for the flight. Okay, from there it will start depending on what time you arrive from your transport. You go to the briefing office, and then you go and wait for the whole set of crew. Me as a supervisor, I go straight away to the briefing office to get my documents and take whatever briefing from the officer. So technically, I brief the crew, but then I also get the briefing from the officer. I'm receiving the message from the officer, then I'm also passing the message to the next crew. The next thing that I will do is I go to the briefing room and I'll gather the crew. Most of the time we have about 15, 16 crew if it's a wide body. Again, since in my case I am a cabin services director, I normally have 16 crew. That is the minimum for us because we are handling wider aircraft here, okay? So what happens next is once all the crew are already in the briefing room, we start introducing ourselves. So this is how we do it. Hey guys, how are you doing today? All good? All right. Are we all going to Atlanta QR 707? Everybody fit to do this flight? Okay. Anyone pulled out from standby? Nobody. Have you guys checked all your documents, your passport, and your CMCs and other documents? They're good. Just make sure you have them with you, okay? Now let's make a self-introduction. You can mention where you're from and the experiences that you have and anything that you can contribute on today's flight. All right, let's start with myself. My name is Christina. I'm from the Philippines. I've been here for 10 years and I'm looking forward to work with you all. And I also hope that after this flight, we will be able to have this special bond. All right? Again. Okay. So after that one, we have to make sure all the crew have introduced themselves. Then they're going to say all their commitments and whatever they want to say that. Every supervisor has its own way of delivering the briefing. So it depends on how you do it. But as for me, I normally just want to feel relaxed. I want the crew to feel relaxed while I'm doing the briefing so that they don't have to be scared. during the flight. So I normally ask them what would be their commitments, and then I ask them to deliver that in the flight. And then I give them the work position. So normally I do this. All right, so I'll be at L1. Maria, you'll be at R1. L4, you'll be in charge in the economy and English PA, please. And then R4, Charlie, you'll be doing the galley checks and counts. Anything that you are missing, please let me know as soon as possible so I can ask the catering guy as well, okay? R4, it will be Jose. R4 Alpha will be assisting in the cabin. And please dress up the lavatories. Just make sure you do 2 baskets of fresh heads, okay? We normally have those stuff before. So I'm just gonna do that. In this part here, I am doing a small buddy aircraft because I don't wanna go through a lot of positions here. So let's pretend that those are the only positions that I have to give out, okay? So basically, I'll give all of the positions to all the crew. So I'll say I'll be L1, and then R1 Maria, L4 Charisse, R4 Charlie, you'll be Clarice, R4 Jose, R4 Alpha, create whatever, whoever is there, okay? So that's how we do it. And then I do assign some SMART goals there. So I would say at TOD, or at the top of descent, I'll be asking 1 to feedbacks from the customer about the service. So each one of you should have feedbacks from the customer. So check within your zone and get feedbacks from your customer. And then during the TOD, I'll be collecting them so I can write something about them, okay? And then we go to sector specifics. So this one would be like the flight itself, okay? So I would say, what will be the flight number? This is to know if the crew is listening to you, okay? So what will be the flight number going to, what's the date for today? Okay, destination, yes. Aircraft registration, this is very important. You need to ask aircraft registration because that's the way for you to know the capacity of the aircraft. And then UTC, let's say Manila is UTC +8. The departure would be and the arrival. And then you'd say, what would be the airport name? And then they will ask airport name. Any special PAs? They say special PA. And then normally we do have an iPad. And I tell them, okay, the load for today would be overbooked. So technically when I say overbooked, which always happens in Manila flight, so I would say, all right, the capacity of this aircraft is 24 and 388, and when it's overbooked, so of course you can only carry 24 and 388. And aside from that, you can ask the name of the captain, if it's double catering or if it's single catering, and then you tell them, please preset the headsets as soon as you finish your checks. Blankets will be on request, okay? But it doesn't happen on Manila because Manila is quite a long flight. So basically, blankets would be on the seats already, which will be preset by the cleaners. So there are times that it will be on request, which is normally on a very short flight, but for long haul flight, normally it is preset, okay? Now, let's go with the boarding expectation. We do have some special handling, so technically we would have about 15 wheelchairs, so please assist them to their seats. Attention to the PAs, guys. All customers on board, please do make sure you go and close the overhead bins and make sure all the passengers have already seated. Make sure you also block the washroom so that we know that all passengers have their own seats. And then arrange the baggage and close the overhead bins as soon as possible. As soon as you see it is already full, please do make sure you close them right away, okay? Attention to all ground staff on board. So when I say all ground staff disembark the aircraft, please do make sure you check all the ground staff. Nobody is in the aircraft so that we can close the door as soon as possible. All right. Now, ground services. Forward galley, what are the welcome drinks that we have? So crew will normally just give like the drinks, the service. We're talking about service this time, okay? And then economy, you can ask them because these are two types of cabin here. There's a business class cabin and there is an economy cabin. So you can ask them like, what do you give out after giving the fresh sheets. So they will say you do the clearance and all these things. So crew already knows that, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. And then after takeoff, you can ask, how would you introduce yourself to the frequent flyer member? We normally introduce ourselves, especially even myself. So normally what I do is like, I'll say this, "Hi sir, my name is Christina. How are you doing today? All good? Okay. I am actually the supervisor on today's flight. If you need any assistance all throughout the flight, please do let me know, okay?" So that's how I do my introduction. The other crew, of course, I presume they've already done their introduction, and then I just go and make a follow-up. And then after that, I can say, "Okay guys, please make sure you confirm the special meals and you give out the child meals first before rolling out the cart," which is what we normally do. So we have to make sure that the kids are served first before we do our service, okay? And then after that, we say a TOD. TOD, again, it's top of descent. And we use line disposable drawer when we are securing. Please do make sure you lock and seal the bar. And then white paper, please give it to me. Again, this one, it depends on the station information. All right. Then please thank the customer and return their jackets if they have given their jackets to you. Okay. So please do make sure you give it back to them. All right. Medications, please do let me know if I need to return back any medication so that we don't forget them. Okay. Special handling, please inform them that they will be disembarking last, because otherwise they will start standing up and then only to realize that the wheelchair is still not there. Okay, so just make sure they have to wait. And then after that, after landing, please do a lost and found checks. Please pass it on time. Place the equipments back to its location, especially when we're back into Doha. But then this one is a layover, so just make sure you just return it back for the next crew. And then conclusion. And guys, have you seen any briefing notes for today? Okay. Just make sure you keep on reminding yourself, especially the briefing notes, because sometimes updates are there. And grooming. The grooming has been checked already. Normally, in a briefing scenario, while we are doing our briefing, the grooming officer would come. She's gonna check if the crew are having the complete uniform, if they pass grooming check. So again, if they have some problems, grooming has to tell them. And if it's not an issue, then we just take down note, okay? That's how it is. And then normally we say, "Do you have any questions for the flight?" And they will say, "No, we don't have." So I asked if there's anybody wants to add anything. And if there's not, then we go proceed to the flight. So again, once you reach 15-20 minutes, you go proceed to the flight. And then you go take the crew to the immigration. And then after that, normally it takes about 15-20 minutes. Again, going to the aircraft itself, because of the traffic in the airport, yes. And then after that, we go start our checks before we start the boarding. So I hope you guys have learned something from today's flight. I know it's a very informal thing, but I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I'll see you again next time. Bye!